You've been listening to the oral arguments in Trump v. Barbara. Now, the oral arguments you are hearing are concerning Executive Order 14160. That is President Trump's birthright citizenship executive order, which undoes the notion that anyone around the world, this was said in this case, all 8 billion people around the world could have a child in the United States of America. And those individuals under an 1868 constitutional amendment, the 14th Amendment, would become U.S. citizens. John Sower posing and positing that possibility before the Supreme Court in a contentious but civil back and forth.
Reactions are pouring in fast when it comes to the latest updates regarding the Supreme Court decision that they are debating at the moment on birthright citizenship. Here we have Fox News reacting to the said controversy that's already beginning to start up. It's quite interesting. As you guys can see, basically, I like how they summarize it, because when it comes down to it, the invitation to the entire world being offered is what is at stake. As we talked about in our last segment, if the Supreme Court goes ahead and weighs on the, if you will, kind of in vogue interpretation, that as long as you're born in the United States from non-American parents, as long as you're born in this country, that automatically makes you an American. What this will do, in effect, is give an invitation, an open license to the world, an incentive, if you will, to come here illegally in order to have your child birthed. There, of course, is massive amounts of other organizations that are already trying to provide that to other individuals. We, of course, have various Chinese organizations that are taking money from individuals to go and smuggle their children across the border. We're, of course, getting lots of other reactions to this. We have here from the Blaze on X, Asian protesters outside the Supreme Court during oral arguments on birthright citizenship case, carrying signs that read, "Birthright, our right." Let's give a little bit of a listen. What is truly terrifying, I think, about this case, my friends, is the reality that if the Supreme Court allows this to take place, this is going to be, in effect, the final nail in the coffin on destroying any semblance of the fight for heritage Americans. And what will be interesting about this in particular is the fact that you will have the entire world saying it is now a right to come to the United States, whether it's legal or not, and have your child born here, because that, in effect, will make them an American citizen. I like how President Trump has reacted to this. This is somewhat breaking news, as you guys can see. Trump delivers first public reaction after attending birthright citizenship arguments. President Donald Trump offered his first public reaction after attending the Supreme Court's oral arguments on birthright citizenship on Wednesday. Quote, "We are the only country in the world stupid enough to follow birthright citizenship," end quote, Trump wrote on a Truth Social post. And then just a little bit earlier, how Trump reacted during the birthright citizenship hearing. The president, attending Wednesday's oral arguments for more than an hour, with sources in the room telling Fox News he remained focused on the arguments. Trump arrived roughly 10 minutes before the session began and stayed through the entirety of the Solicitor General John Sewer's argument that lasted for 65 minutes. Trump then stayed for 7 minutes of arguments from ACLU Director Cecilia Wang's reply. Trump did not speak for the duration as the court rules require. He left without making a comment to the press. But of course, we know what his position is already, and of course his position regarding the subject matter in his infamous executive order that we see here from earlier last year. And really what's interesting to me about this is, again, as I say, without trying to ring too much of the same bell over and over again, what you have here, in effect, by getting rid of any semblance of, if you will, restraint upon the foreigners trying to come into the system, is that this will be an open license and an open incentive to have people come here. Every single country on planet Earth has the wherewithal, if you will, the knowledge, the reason, the, if you will, general prudence to understand that actually going forward with some type of action like this would be suicidal to their nations. The West, though, is suffering from what Elon Musk calls, and I think he's correct on this, suicidal empathy. It's this idea that, you know, as long as we have the means, we should allow tons of people to come here because in allowing tons of people to come here, they'll be able to have better lives and better jobs and take care of their family. The problem, though, is that what this ultimately does to our own native population is if you have millions and millions and millions of people come in, which is what we've seen over the last 40, 50, 60 years, you will eventually have the displacement of your own native-born population. Why is it that young people in America who are being born here, they can't afford anything? They can't get good enough jobs to where they're able to afford anything because of several factors. Number one, illegals and migrants owning up all of the homes inside of the country. Number two, the fact that we have a system in which incentivizes people to come here illegally and get lots of free handouts. And so individuals are having to pay into the system through taxation in order to take care of all of these people on entitlement programs. And then, of course, you have the whole issue of just taxation being too high in and of itself. But all of this being said, how does this benefit Americans? This does not. The Supreme Court needs to be fighting for the rights of American citizens, not for the rights of people who are not American. They're clearly not American. Their parents aren't even born here. They came across the country illegally in order to have a child to get around this loophole. This provision inside of the 14th Amendment was placed in this country after the bloody American Civil War, a civil war, unfortunately, which most people aren't really well educated on. It was there so that the slaves and that the descendants of slaves could have their citizenship in this country. It was not meant or intended for billions of people today coming from around the earth, usurping the system so that they can have economic incentives or economic benefits to send back to their own countries, or so that they can have their children born here so that they can collect upon these types of things. It's absolutely nuts, but unfortunately we don't have a system, it seems, that wants to actually put forward any meaningful solutions. So yeah, it's absolutely nuts. We have here, of course, we played this earlier. If you guys want to go back and watch the kind of current reactions from some of the Supreme Court members, it's looking somewhat rough. We have both John Roberts and Amy Coney Barrett who are coming out, it seemingly, and have some skepticism toward this. So we'll see how this all ends up shaking out, but at the moment things are not looking too hot, let's just put it that way. So give me your thoughts in the comment section below. I'd be happy to hear them. Make sure and like this video, subscribe to the show, and share this show with your friends. Greatly appreciate it, as we were in the beginning of this show myself, kind of getting us off into the broader world of the algorithm. It definitely is appreciated. God bless you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next segment. Coming up next, we're going to be talking about the streamer Cavicular getting arrested, I believe, in Florida for some just absolutely insane shenanigans that he's been getting into. And we're going to talk about how some of the role models right now for young men in particular, and also some young women, are truly barbaric, degenerate, and not good, to say the least, and why we should be putting forward good Christian role models as opposed to kind of the nonsense that we see being put forward today. But also talking about the absence of good Christian role models, the fact that many pastors and priests and religious leaders, unfortunately, have been very sissified, and they've not actually tackled the issues of our day in any meaningful fashion. And so, unfortunately, people are turning to these more right-wing, if you will, pagan-type figures. And I say that as someone who is right-wing himself. So check out that story coming up next. See you guys then.